Yeah. Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Dan. So, okay, since this is the month of October, obviously I want to do lots of stuff for the horror genre because it's Halloween. Okay, maybe not exactly today, but you get what I'm saying here. It's the month of October, I guess. So here we are, I guess. So anyway, let's just get straight to it, shall we? Because spooky stuff and whatnot. Anywho, so for today's video, it's going to be centered around the door with seven locks. And okay, but the thing is that this film also went under the title of a different name, completely different name. And it will be Chamber of Horrors, which, yes, obviously just makes things really confusing, of course, because you're just going to be thinking it's a totally different movie. Like, okay. So apparently there was a screenplay that was written for this that was based upon on a 1927 novel titled "The Door Seven Locks," but okay, which I never read by the way, so I don't know how faithful it is or not. Just saying. Alright, whatever. Let's talk about the plot, shall we? So here we go. So hee hoo ha ha ha. So there was this wealthy individual. He dies, and let's just say that this definitely is a very valuable deposit of jewels, of course. Seven keys are required to unlock the tomb and get hold of the treasure because he was pretty much buried with it, I guess you could say. So obviously there's also this series of mysterious events that causes the keys to be shadowed and shattered. And of course, when trying to unravel what had been going on, there was this whole thing with the individuals who want the treasure, of course, yeah, it gets pretty wild, I guess you could say. It gets pretty crazy as it should, of course, obviously. But anyway, the basic idea is that there was this murder. Yeah, a murder is found to be connected to a false individual and a secret underground torture chamber. So yeah, it sounds pretty damn crazy when you think about it, because as it is, it's supposed to be one of the type of movies like a murder mystery, maybe kind of a thing. But that's how I took it anyway. But anywho, that's the kind of thing the people wanted to do here, folks. So this is definitely something I will recommend, folks. There's gonna be some good old mayhem. Obviously, yes, it's gonna be one of those dark house movies where there's lots of weird stuff that's happening within the household. And yes, I've reviewed quite a few of these already. So this is a part of that genre of horror films where strange things happen inside of a house, apartment, maybe an apartment, or maybe a mansion. It's usually a mansion or maybe a castle. But point being, these characters are usually stuck in some place like that, and then there'll be some weird shit going on and whatnot. Especially in that genre of horror. And I've seen plenty of these, and this is definitely one of those, of course. But I'd definitely say that this film does have some good pacing. The actors and actresses actually do have a good rhythm when it comes to delivering the lines and whatnot. So that's definitely isn't too bad. So I like the supporting cast as well from everyone from the key players. And there's a good enough story to be had. It was solid enough to keep things going, I guess. I want in terms of story and that it's not too shabby either, really. Of course, in terms of that, because I like what they were trying to do. I mean, when I say they, I mean referring to people who were behind this film, of course. So okay, so on when it comes to the production value, yes, of course, it's one of these really cheaply made movies, of course, and well, cheaply made compared to the more modern stuff, anyway. And that's kind of the thing. So when it comes to that, the people who were behind this did the best they could. Of course, they did the best with what they had, obviously. So the lighting isn't too bad. Of course, you need good lighting when it comes to making movies, and good, decent lighting is actually really needed for horror movies, horror stories, and whatnot. I mean, again, you think that's like the most obvious thing, but you should be surprised how many times like that gets forgotten about, like really amateur work. I've seen plenty of movies where it just screams amateur work. Like the lighting is terrible. Like the most obvious mistakes are should be avoided, end up getting made. But thankfully, this isn't one of the types of movies where like the super obvious mistakes are there, of course. So that's definitely is a thing. So good camera work when it comes to the movement, the way it's choreographed, the blocking keeps the visuals engaging. Yes, even for a low budget horror slash thriller kind of a thing, I guess. In other words, what I'm trying to get at, this is definitely one of those better examples of this genre I've seen over the years, of course. So yeah, basically just centered around this whole idea that there's this wealthy man who died, leaving a huge fortune in his personal tomb with 7 interlocking doors. Hence the title of the film, because the whole king's keys thing have to be used to get into the tomb after a period of time after his death. Yada yada yada. And all that jazz, of course. This is definitely a pretty solid movie with lots of suspense on keep its suspense, of course, and whatnot. And yeah, this is actually not too shabby of a movie, really. And so I'll just talk about this real quick, and I would definitely recommend it, of course. But yes, I can definitely say that this was one of the a solid story, I guess you can say. It was a solid story, I guess you can say. So I don't know. I can say that this was something I would say it's pretty good even with the music as well. The music wasn't too bad either. Because the music here is like not. Yes, I would definitely recommend this. I mean, okay, you might be on a cheap side, sure, like I was saying, of course, obviously. But yeah, I'm not talking about torture, having a torture room and whatnot. This kind of stuff seems to be. I mean, nowadays it seems like whatever because in horror movies you've seen worse, I guess. I mean, there's no blood and gore or anything like that in a movie, but just the fact that you mentioned that of a torture chamber and all that, a dungeon, especially back in the day, way back when, yeah, when I was much younger, this kind of thing was frowned upon. You're not supposed to mention anything like this in a horror story, even though it's a horror story. So I don't know what to expect really. But anyway, it's too horrific. It's too terrifying. You're not supposed to talk about this kind of stuff in a movie. But so mentioning this kind of stuff, just the mere mentioning of this kind of thing in a movie was pretty much unspeakable back in the day. I mean, it's like I know nowadays, like who gives a shit really, but still, times have changed. Oh boy, times have changed. But anyway, enough of the rambling. So this was definitely a solid enough movie, I guess. At least I thought so. Anyway, of course, I'll give it an overall rating of a 7.0 out of 10. It's a 7.0 out of 10 for me. So, of course, as always, thanks for watching and take care. Until next time.